This is Phil's business. Mm-hmm. All
So you
right.
call him Phil.
Well, yes, in the Soviet Union, he's Philip Georgievich. Phil, we called him. And my nephew here, or my grandson, is called Philip. And the new little grandson is called Alfred. So they're both named after their grandfather.
That's great.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's start. Where were you born? You know, what
All right.
was your early years like?
All right. Well, I was born on the Columbia River in Washington State in a little town called Brewster, Washington. And of course, I don't remember all that, but I heard a lot about things around there. My grandmother lived in Tacoma, Washington. That's across from Seattle. And there are lots of relatives there. They're all dead probably, but then there were lots. And when I was 3, we moved to Reno, Nevada. I have a few pictures of that there when I was 3. I don't remember that very much. And then when I was 4, we moved to Sacramento. My father had a number of years of trying to find the right place. He was a banker. He was in a banking position in Washington, and he discovered that in some kind of a recession that they were having, that the banks were taking all of the country. They were just taking one farmer's land and another, and he couldn't stand it. He says, it's just immoral, and I won't work for such a corporation, and he quit his job. And you can imagine, my mother, she had 2 children, a boy, 7, and a girl, a little bit less. And then afterward, she was pregnant, and they had very little to eat. I had a picture of my sister when she was 7 or so, with some terrible, terrible high shoes, and absolutely all broken to pieces. You could tell in the picture. And she said, I was so ashamed of those shoes when they went to school and so on. They went through very hard times there until he managed to find a job. He was a very good accountant and went to Sacramento and worked there as an accountant for the state. And he made the budget. He made the budget for the state of California for many years there. And he was very upright Protestant, brought up by a very strong and fearful mother. And he never drank or smoked in his life, And in my family, it was impossible to play cards or to dance or anything like that until my sister grew up. And she was very pretty and had lots of friends, and she gradually broke him down because he was really very gentle. And so when I came along, there was no problem, but I can remember a number of things where my sister was trying to have a party and my father was against it and so on. My sister played piano beautifully, and she took a course in chords and learned to play jazz piano when she was in the first year of college, I guess. And so, of course, our house was just full of young people all the time. My father gave up. Yeah.
And what kinds of things did you like in school?
In school, I didn't do very well in my early years, it seems to me. At least I wasn't very outstanding. But in high school, I edited the paper and wrote the best themes and was very interested in writing and then all that sort of thing. My best friend was interested in acting, and that sort of drew me in, and we were together in some things. And so I was very active in high school and graduated rather high, and it was a big school. By then we had moved down south and lived in Glendale, and there were 4,000 students. That is, there were 1,000, almost 990 or something, students in my class. And so it was a very big school. And I graduated very well and was offered a scholarship at Stanford. But then I discovered that at Stanford everything is very expensive, and we weren't very wealthy or anything. And the scholarship was just the tuition. So I discovered for that same money I could go to Berkeley and live very well on that money. And my father could afford it. My father gave me plenty of money. So I went to Berkeley, graduated from Berkeley in 1940.
And what did you study there? What was your degree in?
English literature. But I also took Greek and Latin and everything. In high school, I took Spanish and French. And in college, I took then Latin and Greek and was very interested in Greece, actually. I was very interested in Greece. I had made a whole project once with a large scrapbook of all kinds of pictures and everything. I didn't know that later on I would marry a Greek. But I was very interested in it. And so then, what? We went back to Sacramento when I was in college. And I went 1 year at Sacramento Junior College. And then I went on to Berkeley there. And in Sacramento, I met my first husband, that is Bruce Dayton, who was a physicist. And in those days, being a physicist was about like being a poet or something, you know? It just was something out of this world. You didn't expect to even live if you were going to be a physicist, you know? That was before all the big atom bomb business and everything. So he was
Tell me a little bit more about that. That a physicist was a poet, in that he was esoteric, or he was a dreamer, or
Yes, he was a dreamer and wasn't thinking of how he was going to earn a living. I mean, it just didn't seem to be a real sort of thing. And I don't think my parents were too pleased, but we got married in college. We were married in 39.
I think when I think these days that, my daughter is going to marry a physicist.
That's fine.
Yeah, what a job.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Well, and then it wasn't like that. It wasn't like that. And his family had been building a house, a wonderful house. And I met him at the